Project 1065, Chapter 50, Surrender or Die. Hey, remember that kid in line ahead of us at the initiation test who got sent home because his parents weren't good Nazis? Fritz asked me. There he is. We stood at the end of a cobblestone street with other members of the SRD, ready at last to take on our first assignment for the Hitler Youth Patrol Force. The boy Fritz was talking about stood a little ways off from us wearing a brand new SRD uniform just like ours. I frowned. Didn't he get kicked out? I said. What's he doing here wearing that uniform? His name's Carl. You didn't hear? He made it into the Hitler Youth after all by turning in his parents to the Gestapo. I shook my head. People were always spying on one another and ratting on each other to the secret police, especially if there was some reason they didn't like them. Someone cuts in front of you in the food ration line? Tell the Gestapo you overheard them complaining about Hitler. Your boss at work gave you a bad review? Tell the Gestapo he'd been stealing office supplies. Your neighbor's dog digged holes in your flower bed. Tell the Gestapo your neighbor's hiding a Jew. Turning in your neighbor was the German national pastime. But to denounce your own parents? I shuddered at the thought. If you were denounced for a real reason, it was as good as a death sentence. They took them into protective custody, Fritz whispered. Code for being arrested and sent to a concentration camp. And Carl got an automatic promotion to the SRD. But of course, if you were a cold-hearted weasel who would turn in your parents to get a promotion, you belonged in the SRD. I could see that the other SRD boys were giving him plenty of space, but I didn't know if it was out of respect or out of fear. SRD, to me, a man in an SS uniform called, and with a start I realized it was SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer, the Gestapo man who told the story at dinner about the boy who turned in his parents for harboring a Jew, the SS officer who had almost caught me talking with Simon at night in the embassy. Apparently, ratting out your parents to the Gestapo was a great way to get on his good side. The rest of you, line up, he called. This must be something important for an adult to be here with us, I thought. SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer caught sight of me. He came over and tapped his riding crop against the silver gorget I wore in my blue SRD uniform. Michael O'Shaughnessy, I see you chose the SRD, he said, and my skin crawled. Very impressive. Beside me, Fritz straightened as though he'd gotten the compliment. SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer turned his attention to the other boys, the ones wearing the plain black and brown uniforms of the regular Hitler Youth. You regular Hitler Youth are here today because we need extra manpower. Members of the Edelweiss Pirates are known to frequent the pool hall at the end of the street, and today we are going to raid it. An electric current rippled through the collected boys. Fritz and I turned to stare at each other in surprise. Our first action as SRD, and we were going on a raid. Fritz was excited. I was worried. How could I pretend to be enthusiastic but not hurt anyone? I need a volunteer to lead the first wave of the attack, our leader said. He eyed me, but there was no way I was going to be fool enough to be first person through that door, wearing an SRD uniform, no less. Then, to my surprise, Fritz's hand shot up. SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer raised his eyebrows. And what is your name, young man? Fritz Brendler, sir. Very good, Fritz Brendler, SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer said. The SS Obersturmführer gave me a disappointed look and began to separate the regular Hitler Youth boys into small groups and assign them to SRD boys. I shot Fritz a glance like, are you crazy? But he was too excited to notice. I could see that wild look in his eyes again. Could see him breathing faster. He barked out an order to his troops, and they ran off down the street toward the pool hall. The rest of us followed on their heels. Don't hurt any of them, I told my boys. We do this the easy way. We're just here to take them into protective custody with as little trouble as possible. Which was a joke, because protective custody meant they were anything but safe. But I didn't want any of the pirates' blood on my hands, especially when I secretly agreed with them. We took up positions outside the pool hall. I thought SS Obersturmführer Trumbauer was going to give us instructions, coordinate things. But Fritz yelled, "This is an SRD raid!" and shot through the front door of the pool hall with all the subtlety of a bazooka. "Surrender or die, Edelweiss pigs!" he screamed. So much for the easy way. I shook my head and waved my troops inside.